Do you like my cute little crow's nest? Yes, it's a crow's nest. And let me. Hey friend, it's your girl Chantel with Remy Girls, and I am coming on today. I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but here we are. So if you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are a return viewer and you have not subscribed, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you are not subscribed and you're new, please hit that like and subscribe button. So let's just jump right into it. Today I'm going to talk about this cute little crow's nest that I have on my head. So I talked in my last video about some of the 5 key steps that you need when you are running a hair business. So I'll just try to drop a link here or here or somewhere. I'm sorry, I'm pointing all over Nikki's head. Yes, this is Nikki. I named her Nikki. I have probably like 5 or 6 of them because they used to be in my original store, and so I just placed them around my space. It's part of my feng shui. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you about Nikki really quick, and I'll probably drop a wax Instagram somewhere in this video a little bit later. So this is why I'm standing next to my homegirl Nikki right now, because we are talking about hair, of course, for this particular video. And I figured because her hair is slayed, mine not so much. So let me go back a little. I talked about having vendors, having more than one vendor, why I don't drop ship, and why it's important to test the product and not drop ship. So anyway, in this video, I want to talk to you about those reasons because it's funny, because it came full circle really, really quick. And I want to be able to give information to you that it is helpful, it is useful, and it may prevent you from making a mistake, but if you've made a mistake, you'll know and you'll be aware for the next time. So that is why I'm bringing up this topic today. And this is why I'm using myself as an example, right? So I purchase hair from a vendor. Now, I have about 20 vendors, right? It is hard to keep up with that many vendors, but I've been doing this for quite some time, so I have a little system going that works for me. I source different types of hair, and this is why I have so many vendors. So if you're familiar with Remy Girls, I source Indian hair because Indian hair is the most versatile. I source Indian, Cambodian, Burmese, Russian, and I feel like there's another one. Oh, I typically get steam processed hair. I feel like I'm leaving something out, but I doubt it. But I feel like I'm leaving something out. But I do source like a lot. Anyway, I talk about not doing drop shipping. I offer drop shipping, but I don't drop ship myself. And here's a reason why. So I was testing out a few new vendors because things happen. And this segues to something else. I'm not going to touch on it today. I'll make another video, I promise. So I was testing out a vendor because things happen. Right now we're in a pandemic. If you are familiar with your industry, we are in a shortage. The hair that comes from India, because 90% I would say hair that is sold on the market comes from India. A lot of times India sells the hair directly, or they will ship the hair to China. China buys tons and tons and tons and tons of hair because they have large factories out there. What they do is, you know, they weft the hair. Sometimes they will do the closures and frontals, but a lot of their closures and frontals they send over to Korea. And they send it over to Korea because Korea is really big in making closures and frontals. So I'm giving you guys some education today. So hopefully you are taking notes, saving this video, liking and subscribing. But they send the closures and the frontal pieces over to Korea. Korea makes them. I guess they ship it back. And that is how you can go on, let's say, for example, AliExpress or wherever and order your hair directly. Well, because the borders to and from Korea are closed, there is a shortage in the industry. So At first I didn't believe it because we've never been in a pandemic. So I've been around this industry since 2011. I've been selling hair. And so this is the first. But when things like this happen, you always got to pivot. And so 2 years ago, my stylist and I, we actually flew out to Las Vegas to learn how to actually make a wig from scratch. And we learned how to ventilate. So that was one of those things that we just kind of was like, okay, we need to know in and everything about this industry because we need to be able to pivot when things happen. Honey, I did not think that things was going to happen like this severely. So anyway, there's a shortage out there, and I'm not going to stay on that topic long because I'll make another video about the shortage. All I'm saying to you is go on RemyGirls.com and order your hair because there is a shortage of closures and frontals. I cannot make this up. You can ask your business, your local hair company. Ask them. Ask them. I want you to ask them and say, hey, what length closures and frontals that you have in stock? I just want to touch on that really, really quickly. Now, getting back to this cute little crow's nest on my head. So, I was testing out a vendor, right? And I purchased 4 kilos of hair. Now, that might sound like a lot, but it isn't. So, I purchased a little bit, just a little bit over 4 kilos of hair. And I put some, sorry, Nikki. I put some in my head to test it out. And it is critical, I'm going to say this again. It is super important to know your industry. No shade to anyone because I am not familiar with anyone necessarily that follows me on YouTube. But you have to know your industry. If you're just getting into the industry, I'll give you a pass. However, learn your industry. I'm not saying that you have to know your competition. I'm saying to learn your industry, and let me give you my reasons why. I purchased this hair. Now, I don't know if you can see the texture of hair, but I want you to take a wild guess to the texture of hair, right? I'm not going to tell you what type of hair I have in my head. I want you to tell me by dropping a comment below what texture of hair that I have in my head and what they sold to me and told me that this hair was. So make sure you drop it in the comment below. Let me take my little clip out so you can kind of see it a little bit better. I kind of made it worse. I'll put my thing back in a second. But just tell me what you think this hair is. So I ordered the hair. I had the hair installed. And it looked one way when I had it installed. And I was like, okay, I like it. I'm sorry, Nikki. I keep beating you up. And I had the hair installed and it looked fine. It looked one way and I had that style for like a week. Then I did a co-wash. Finally, I did a co-wash on the hair. And the hair texture changed. And I was just like, But within that week, I was noticing that I was getting more shedding than I expect. Now, there's some tips and tricks when you have your hair installed because most stylists do not fold over your tracks. That is a tip for another day. A lot of stylists just cut your tracks when they're sewing it in. But I'll talk about that later because there are certain type of hair that I offer that I always recommend because it's so high-end hair that if your stylist can do the fold over, because a lot of times the tracks come flat, very flat, flatter than, you know, what you'll buy at your local beauty supply, to fold that hair over, because those tracks I don't like to get cut because they're more expensive. And not to say that because they're more expensive not to do a fold over method, it's just fold those over, don't cut those, right? So like beauty supply store hair, fold that over. I mean, cut that, sew it in however you want to. But high-end hair, I always ask my stylist if she could do a fold over method. She doesn't necessarily like doing it because it's a longer process. But yeah, that's just one little tip. If you're purchasing our Luxe or our Glam hair, make sure you do the fold over method. So anyway, I had my tracks cut and I had my frontal sewn in, so on and so forth, and I'm getting, you know, a little bit of shedding. I expect a little bit of shedding because when you cut the track at the end, if you do not seal it, that weft off at the end, you can have a little bit more shedding than normal. I'm going to put pictures in this video so you all can see. Hair sheds, period, okay? There are some wefts that don't shed at all. It's just the way that they are constructed, but most of the hair that you purchase is going to shed. Your frontal is going to shed because if it is not hand tied, it's going to shed. And even hand tied, after a while, it's going to shed. Your frontal is going to shed. It's just the nature of the beast. This is fabric because it's lace, and then it's hair tied, machine or hand tied. You're going to lose some strands over time. However, I was losing strands every single day. And this hair is pretty thick up here, but I'm seeing knots. So I know that I'm losing a lot in the frontal, but the frontal is pretty thick, that's one of the things that's kind of helping me out. But every single day. So like I said, I'm going to post pictures up. Maybe I'll put it on this side so I won't block Nikki out. Post pictures up and just show you literally day after day after day after day after day after day after day, I'm getting a lot of shedding. It's like equivalent to like about this much. Some of these may seem like a little exaggeration, but some of these are like pretty big. So anyway, I reached out to the vendor and I said, hey, I just want to let you know, because I don't want to post on any of your platforms that I'm having issues with the product. I installed a couple pieces in my head to test it out, and it's shedding every single day. And the texture has changed. So I explained to the owner that I had cut the tracks, so I expected some shedding. This is when it got me. The owner replied back and said, well, why did you cut the tracks? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Again, I've been in this industry and around this industry for quite some time. If you're new, again, I'll give you a pass. But if you have this big company and you sell hair, and if you are offering wholesale and drop shipping, you should never, 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 never ask the question of, well, why did you cut the track? Yeah, that's not a question that an expert in the game that is selling hair would say. And you all might try to come for me, but I don't care. Because I work with cosmetologists. I basically have my cosmetology license, and I say basically because I've worked with so many stylists that I've racked up enough hours that if I want to go take my state board and do it, I probably could. I just don't want to. That's just something I don't want to do because I'm not the gifted one that is creative to put you in my chair and get you all dialed up. I like retail and I enjoy what I do. But at the same rate, I still need to know my product. So I said all that to say, when the owner was like, well, why did you cut the tracks? And I was just like, what? Was that a real question? Like, seriously, was that a real question? I didn't say anything. I was like, well, because there's tons of different methods to do an install for the hair product. So anyway, if I was new to this and I had this shedding issue, right? And I purchased all this hair and I'm selling all this hair because the hair is being drop shipped and it's going out to my clients and they're saying, oh, I bought this Italian curly hair and it's acting like body wave. Or if they say, I bought this Jerry curly hair and it's acting like loose wave. Because one, you did not have the product in-house, it's hard to do damage control with that. Two, if you are not really learning your industry, you wouldn't know how to necessarily rectify that because the client already has the product. Now, I'm not saying that completely eliminates that you get product from your vendor, you test out some of your vendor's product, everything is okay, and then you get to send it out to your clients and they're having issues. I'm not saying that that will completely take this, you know, away from the experience. I'm saying that this is one of the reasons why it is important to test out your vendors. Whether you got to put it in your head or somebody else's head, or even just play around with it. You don't even have to install it. I just like to install when I'm dealing with new vendors, whether I install it on myself or, you know, give it to someone else for research and development, just to see what my vendor is working with. And then every so often, it's great to do another test run with your vendor just to stay, just to make sure that they are staying with consistency of what the product that you purchase, right? So I had to send 4 kilos of hair back. That's a lot of money with shipping to receive it and shipping it back, because now you have to ship it with insurance for the full value. And then pray that it makes it there, because shipping is delayed, and with COVID happening, things are lost and things are delayed. So there's a lot more pressure with you moving products around. So I want to come on and just talk about that, and talk about how there is good in this industry, there is bad, and then there is ugly. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to rock the blood out of this hair until almost every strand come up out of this poodle. But I want you to be able to, you know, really hone in and recognize what you're getting and know what you're working with. You know, a lot of business owners, they have these day in the life of entrepreneurs, and they show you the glitz and the glam and the, you know, the packaging and things of that nature. But I like to come on and talk about the meat and potatoes. Not to say that the glam and the glitz is a bad thing. I'm not taking anything away from that. But I want you to know that there are certain key things that you need to look for, or need to just be prepared for, simply because a lot of these vendors know that people are jumping into the industry. And when you order hair, sometimes people, well, shoot, a lot of times people are buying on the image. They see your hair, they see it beautiful, they see how it looks on you, and then you sell it, and then they're having issues with their hair, or it's crap hair, or it's just, yeah, crap hair. And people start to draw their own conclusions. And I wouldn't want anyone to get bashed for hair that was terrible and they had no idea that was terrible. My stylists and I, we sit down a lot and collab on different hair that we've tested. I have some hair from a different country, I'll say that. And I absolutely love the hair. And I've had this hair for almost 2 years. And the hair is gorgeous until you get to the end of the hair. And the problem with the end of the hair is the texture changes. And I'll just leave it at that, because that will be a video for another day. But it's all in how they put the hair together. I'll just say that. It's all in how they put the hair together. Great hair, but it sucks. It's kind of frayed on the end, and it's just like, and there's reasons for that. And that is why I like to sell raw hair. And that is why I try to stick with raw hair and untouched, unprocessed hair. But hey, I like my steam processed hair sometimes. So I was trying out steam processed hair, because with raw hair, what you see is what you get, all right? If it's straight hair, it's gonna be straight. If it's curly hair, it's just gonna be curly. But when you get into the silky straights, the body waves, the deep waves, the steam kinky curly hair, the Italian curl, the Jerry curl, and all those other hairs that you go into the beauty supply and see, or you go on AliExpress and see, that has a steam process to it. Well, not all steam processes created equal, and that is why there is breakdown when you purchase hair and the texture is kind of off, or it has issues going on. So I said all that to say, just make sure that you do your due diligence and your true follow-up and your true testing, because in this industry, there is good, there is bad, and there is ugly. Like and subscribe to this video. Also, have to give a quick shout out to my team. So shout out to Carmen the Hair Genie, who is my stylist that installed my cute little crow's nest. She's phenomenal at what she does. I absolutely love her to death. So make sure you check her out. Carmen. I have her Instagram right here. Also, shout out to my nail tech, CC Nailed It. So I will drop her handle as well. And let me tell you something really cool about my nail tech. And I know this is like so off topic, so forgive me, but I just want to tell you about my nail tech because she is so awesome. And I just love my squad because they know how to pivot, okay? And I talk about pivoting a lot because in this industry, you have to be able to pivot, right? So her books have been closed because she is full with clientele, and with the whole COVID and just keeping things safe, she had shut down her business for a while, right? And so these hands are in need of a fill-in. But what she has decided to do, so make sure you guys check her out. I will definitely put her handle here. What she's decided to do was create press-ons. And I know a lot of nail techs have been doing press-ons, right? But she's doing her press-ons with acrylic. So it's not your regular press-on that you get from Sally's Beauty Supply. It literally looks like regular nails, and she is retailing them for all of those people that cannot get to her or who loves her work and would like to support her. And so make sure you go check out CC Nailed It. I will definitely put her handle over here, but it is so dope. So when these nails come off, like I never ever have to get my actual nails done again because she is doing nail sets with full acrylic and they're press on. So that is so dope. So shout out to my glam squad. Shout out to my makeup artist Joy and my other makeup artist Luxury Beat, but they didn't do this today because I was just like we are not getting beat for the cat. The Matic cat, it's not Matic, but for this cat up here today. So again, until next video, I love you all. Ciao.